Have you ever thought that it was the other way around that I needed you?
Debbie and Tony were a really sweet couple on 90 Day Fiance,
Holy Tony, you better be worth all that I'm giving up.
Of course I am.
but they completely disappeared. So what happened to
I
them?
don't know. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's going.
Are they even still together, and is Debbie still in Canada? So from breakup rumors to mysterious rings, you guys will be shocked when you hear what's going on in Debbie's life right now.
I don't know how this is going to work, and that terrifies me.
Debbie and Tony seemed like they were made for each other. Debbie even moved to Canada to be with him, and everything seemed to be going great for them. But then, a couple months ago, in late April, some crazy rumors started going around, and these rumors first appeared on Twitter, and people started saying that Debbie and Tony were over, and they had broken up, and it seemed like Debbie had left Tony and was moving back to the US, and this was actually super shocking because up until that point, things seemed to be going great for them, and no one knew where these rumors came from or if they were even true. But then Debbie decided to talk about them, and so in early May, Debbie posted a photo of her and Tony together, and in the caption she promoted her cameo for Mother's Day. But then someone in the comments asked her about the rumors, and this person asked if it was true that the two of them were over, and Debbie actually responded, and she wrote that the rumors were funny, and Debbie said that she and Tony were still together and madly in love. So those rumors really just were rumors and nothing more. But still, I wonder where they actually came from. Did someone just make them up, or was there actually trouble going on in the relationship? Either way, we do now know for sure that Debbie and Tony are officially still together, because she shows him off on her Instagram a lot lately. Just the past few months ago, Debbie posted a photo of the two of them together at the Richmond night market in Canada, and earlier that month, the two of them actually took a trip to the US together. They were in Seattle for a baseball game, and Debbie said that she and Tony had a lot of fun watching the Yankees play, even though they had lost. But there was something else that caught everyone's attention, and that was the ring that Debbie was wearing in the photo she shared from the trip. She had a pretty big ring on her ring finger, and this led a lot of us to believe, that maybe Tony did possibly propose to her. And just a month before that, people thought that they were over for good, and now suddenly it looked like they were headed to get married. But I'm not actually so sure that they are, because in the photo, Debbie was wearing a pretty similar ring on another finger as well, and plus neither of them have announced anything about a possible engagement at all, so I don't really think that they're actually engaged at this point. But they are definitely still together, and they're also still in Canada for sure. They've been regularly seen in Vancouver over the last year, and like just 2 months ago, someone on Reddit shared a photo of the two of them out and about, and Debbie has also been spotted in a supermarket in Canada a few times too, which is most likely where she and Tony live these days. Debbie and Tony were spotted in a Walmart too, and so it was in the States, so they likely were just getting some of their shopping done over in the States for cheaper, I would assume, because it's really not too far from where they live in Canada, and we know that they were there thanks to someone on Reddit who apparently ran right into them in the store, and this person said that they actually talked to Debbie and Tony, and apparently they were both really nice and just gushed over the person's daughter, even though the person pretended to not recognize them. And one thing that I'm really curious about is Debbie's resident status in Canada, because it's clear that she now lives there, but does she actually have permanent residency? And what are her long-term plans? Well, she actually kind of confirmed a while ago that she was planning to apply for permanent residency, and she said that she was in Canada legally, but as far as we know, she's not actually a permanent resident yet, and the application process can be pretty complex and difficult, so it makes sense that the whole thing might take a little while, but hopefully she'll be able to get permanent residency sooner rather than later, and it seems like she and Tony are still going strong, so something like that would probably help them, feel even more secure and ready for the future. Even though Debbie and Tony seem to be doing well, the relationship hasn't been completely free of controversy, so for the longest time, everyone really loved them as a couple, but then something came out about Tony that turned a lot of people off. So on the show, we saw a full shot of Tony's really controversial tattoo, and the tattoo included a symbol that many people found really offensive and actually, honestly, kind of racist, and obviously it made a lot of people really mad, and a lot of people hope that 90 Day Fiance or TLC would address it at some point, but they never ended up doing that, and Tony hasn't really addressed it either. So to this day, we don't really know what's happening with his tattoo and what his actual views are, but the fact that he even has this specific tattoo in the first place is honestly bad enough, and it's definitely the reason why some people aren't as happy for Debbie as they used to be, and they are worried that Tony might not be that good of a person, which is sad to see because Debbie and Tony really seem like a match made in heaven, and they clearly have a lot in common, and they have so much fun together, and it's a shame that there's this huge controversy hanging over them. And another thing that's not exactly perfect in Debbie's life right now is still her relationship with Colt. I mean, as far as we know, the two of them still aren't really on speaking terms right now, and their relationship is pretty much just completely broken. Colt had a massive problem with a lot of things, including how fast Debbie was moving with Tony, and he thought Tony was kind of controlling, but Tony kind of voiced his opinion back, and he said that, Colt was just blaming his mom for all of his problems, and all of this happened during the tell-all that came out last December, and it looks like since then, not much has changed. I guess it's nice that Tony stood up for Debbie. They definitely seem to have each other's back, in the relationship, which is good, I guess, in a relationship, but I do kind of hope that they can just work things out with the whole family. But, either way, despite all their controversies, they do seem to be a really good couple. They clearly love each other a lot, and they obviously take the relationship very seriously. And I mean, Debbie even dropped her entire life to move to a different country, not city, not state, but country, for Tony. So they're clearly committed to each other, and it would be great if they could actually address some of these controversies. Debbie did try to defend Tony's tattoos at one point, but her argument didn't really go over that well, and a lot of people did not buy her excuses. And at the end of the day, Tony should be the one addressing his tattoos, not Debbie. I mean, it's his tattoos that caused all the drama, not hers, but maybe one day he'll actually explain himself. But until then, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens next with him and Debbie. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think Debbie and Tony are a good couple? And do you think they're actually going to get married? The ring proof that was going around the internet does seem very possible, but I just don't really see why they would need to get married unless it was for her citizenship in Canada. But I actually like Debbie. I think Debbie mellowed down a lot. She used to be way different and more emotional and kind of high-strung when Colt was with Larissa, and yeah, now she's more mellow, sweet, she's nicer. I'm a fan of her. I like how she kind of took control of her life. Tony seems to be a nice enough guy. He definitely has his controversial stuff going on with his tattoo. The only other thing I'm not the biggest fan of with Tony, and you guys can put this in the comments below if you agree or disagree, because maybe I'm just naive and young, but I think it's very sweet that Tony kind of stood up for Debbie, but I also think it really ruined the relationship with her son. And now it's super awkward and they have no relationship. And not only does Tony not have a relationship with Colt, but Debbie doesn't either. So it's kind of like, I almost thought when Tony got really vocal with Colt at the tell-all, I just kind of felt like he was putting himself in between Debbie and Colt, and it was just making it kind of awkward and weird. I'm not one for that kind of drama to ruin a relationship, and if I was Tony, I would have just kind of stayed neutral in the middle and more calm, but he felt the need to stand up for Debbie and be very aggressive and dramatic, and I don't know, not really my style. I kind of was bummed after seeing that, because I thought he was more of a peacemaker and more mellow, more calm, and I really was liking his vibe at first, but when he went off on the tell-all to her son, to Colt, I'm just not a very big fan of that. But that's my 2 cents. I would love to know what you guys think, and definitely let me know if you think Tony and Debbie are a good couple. Absolutely let me know in the comments below.